Logan. It's coming out March 2nd, and I thought to myself, why not review the 2 Wolverine movies that have led up to it? And this is the first of it. X-Men Origins Wolverine. Yay! X-Men Origins Wolverine was directed by Gavin Hood and starred Hugh Jackman, Liev Schreiber, Danny Huston, Lynn Collins, Ryan Reynolds, Taylor Kish, and will.i.am. This was the first solo outing for Wolverine, something that Fox had always wanted to do because not only is Wolverine one of the most popular characters that Marvel Comics had ever created, but he was the center of the first 3 X-Men movies. I was actually really excited because this movie came out when I was 13 and I'd already seen the first 3 X-Men movies, loved all of them at that time. I thought Wolverine was my guy. And then a friend of my mum's actually had the work print that was leaked out on the internet, and I sat and I watched it. I can honestly say that X-Men Origins Wolverine might just be the first movie that I can remember feeling completely disappointed by. Not just was it the work print where the CGI wasn't finished, that wasn't the problem. No, the problem was, I thought, what is going on? Why is Wolverine shouting so much? Why is Cyclops here? What the hell went wrong? X-Men Origins Wolverine has gone down to this day as one of the worst comic book movies ever made because it got pretty much everything wrong. It got the characters wrong, it got the CGI wrong, it got the action wrong, it got the story wrong, it got the continuity of the X-Men movies, which was pretty solid for 1, 2, and 3. Okay, there we go, that's our story. But it just kept screwing around with everything, like, oh, here's Cyclops, and here's Emma Frost, and yeah, it's gonna be great. No, just, oh my God, watching this movie again, because I hadn't seen this for a very long time for good reason. I just wanted to stay away. But I sat down and I watched this for this review, and oh, I wanted to turn it off. I actually had to take the headphones off multiple times because this movie is so loud and dumb, and everything that comes out of the characters' mouths is just bull crap. So let's break it down. Let's break down the what and the why and the how of how X-Men Origins Wolverine is this bad. This movie was actually kind of chopped up because of the 2007-2008 Writers Guild strike. It had a script beforehand that was written by Game of Thrones co-creator David Benioff, and at first it was an R-rated script. It was going to be very hard, very edgy, very violent. Got a little tone back to PG-13, but it still felt very strong. Hugh Jackman was happy with it, the director was happy with it, the studio was happy with it. But then the production started, and then the usual thing of rewrites came. But those rewrites weren't coming from professional, legitimate writers. They were coming from a bunch of different sources. Multiple cast members were writing it. David Ayer came on for a quickie revision for some reason. This script just got so shredded up and elements were coming in and out. In fact, production was so horrible because they would only get the scripts for that day of shooting on the day. And it made matters worse because those scripts were being written all the way in Los Angeles, and this movie was being made in Sydney. So you can just imagine how awful that would have been, and especially for the director Gavin Hood, whose biggest movie at that point was Sotsi, a great South African film, but he'd never worked on a $150 million movie with such an expensive cast and big action sequences and explosions. He had no idea what the hell to do. And we've seen some other comic book directors who hadn't done anything of that scale prior come in and actually do a really good job. Some people like the Russo brothers, but it just really shows that Gavin Hood has no idea what the hell to do. This movie is completely all over the place. Half the plot doesn't make any sense. Like, how can Colonel Stryker have so much adamantium for 2 people when he said, oh, it was just a meteor that landed? Why is Patrick Stewart here? Like I said, why is Cyclops there? Why does Sabretooth hate Wolverine so much? Why would Stryker want to create the perfect mutant? Why would he shove all these mutant powers into one body? How does he know if that body could actually take it? There's no tests shown in this movie. Why, if it's set in 1979, do most of the computers look super duper high tech? Most of those computers will be like the ones that you saw in Alien. How did Wolverine not use his super senses to discover that his girlfriend was still alive? It just... oh, it really, really like hurts your head to try and think about what the hell was going on. But it's just the fact that no one knew. Everyone was doing their own thing. And even as this movie was kind of completed, it was still being touched up. It was still having pickup shoots. And the CGI wasn't even done a month before the release. And still, when the movie was released, the CGI still looked terrible. Just look at this, where Wolverine first uses his adamantium claws.
You're right in there.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Oh, how can you screw up claws that much? The other X-Men movies, they all use practical claws. He had these cool things that he just put in his fist, and there you go, claws right there. And the only CGI parts was just to make the claws go in and out. That's it. You could have just had a practical effect. But no, let's just have dodgy CGI. And then also look at this shot, where the old couple that takes care of Wolverine, which is a really weird way to go, and it's so rushed over. They get shot by Agent Zero. Just check out this, check out this.
Weapon X is in the barn. He's just murdered 2 civilians.
Come get me.
Who looks at that? Who is making a movie, looks at that and says, yeah, that's a good effect, let's keep that in the movie? No, just stop. Not only is the CGI awful, but then there's the characters. My God, are they so wrong? Sabretooth is actually really well cast. I like Lee Schreiber. You can tell that he's kind of having a lot of fun with this sort of role. He's taken it in a very different direction than what we've seen beforehand with Sabretooth in the original X-Men movie. I'm Sabretooth. I'm gonna get you with my weird claws.
Fingernails of a bag lady.
Meg's, super amazing ability to grow her fingernails.
And Wolverine as well, like Hugh Jackman. I mean, yeah, he's Wolverine. He's always decent, at least. And then there's the other characters: Deadpool, the Blob, Wraith, Gambit, Agent Zero, Silver Fox.
Can't go out too.
Some of those are actually pretty decent characters in the comics. If you haven't heard of half of them, well, that's okay, because I don't think the filmmakers knew exactly what these characters were. Because the Blob is just a guy who ate too much, make way for 2 tons of fat-shaming jokes, which, actually, that was a fat-shaming joke, so, oh, sorry. Wraith is just there because will.i.am said that he loved Nightcrawler, and the filmmakers have said, yeah, okay, you can be Black Nightcrawler. Also, the fact that will.i.am is there and he's an awful actor, and it already dates this movie to a time when the Black Eyed Peas were popular. Gambit's powers are correct, I guess, but he's so douchey and so cheesy and hammy that it's not going to charm anyone. One of his powers is his eternal charm. There is nothing charming about Taylor Kish. Agent Zero is one of the most blandest characters I've ever seen. I don't even know what his mutation is, apart from just, oh look, I can shoot good. Bang. Bang. I'm a mutant. Yeah. Silver Fox.
Can't go out too.
What she does in this movie is such hackneyed nonsense.
Can't go out too.
It doesn't make any freaking sense for her to come back.
Can't go out too.
And then there's the worst part. The king of the crap. The real reason why fans hate this movie so much. And that is what they credit as Deadpool. And I can't describe what this thing is. Just see for yourself.
Wait, is that you? Your striker finally figured out how to shut you up.
What the hell is that? That's not Deadpool. That is an abomination. That looks like the dried piece of skin that my dad picks off his toes. That's not Deadpool. That is something that someone out there thought, hey, let's make Deadpool look like this because we had a joke before where Stryker said,
You didn't have that mouth on you, Wade. You'd be the perfect soldier.
so let's take his mouth away. You know, the character that's called the Merc with the Mouth. That's like taking the Hulk, making him 5'2", purple-skinned, completely fluent in his vocabulary, and blind. You don't need to do it. It bogs the movie down, and it just shows that no one involved in this movie really gave a crap. Someone out there should have looked at this and said, hey, that's actually not exactly the best idea. How about we actually get the real Deadpool in? Full suit and everything. He can just be a mercenary that Stryker pays to take out Wolverine and Sabretooth as a last resort. Do that. That would have been so amazing. This movie is a complete mess and nothing makes sense in it. But if they had that in it, that would have just gone down as a great moment. Just have Deadpool. Why the hell not? Deadpool is a great character. We know that now. But no one knew that back in 2008, and instead we just get this abomination. That's why I'm glad that this movie kind of exists, because it did give us a good Deadpool movie out of this. That way we can forget about this thing forever. How this movie ends, it's how they explain how Wolverine got his amnesia. In this movie, they say that Stryker shot him in the head twice with adamantium bullets. How did that not kill him? If adamantium can break or seriously damage other adamantium, how do those bullets, two of which shot exactly in the same spot, which is a freaking miracle if you ask any person who's ever shot a gun, how did those two bullets not penetrate a hole in Wolverine's skull to kill him? I don't know. No one knows. No one who ever made this movie, whoever was involved in this movie, knows what the hell is going on. Whatever. I don't care. X-Men Origins Wolverine has probably two positives, which is the opening montage showing Wolverine and Sabretooth fighting through all these world wars, which kind of gives a little backstory. You finally find out how old Wolverine really is, and it's like, okay, it's, yeah, pretty entertaining to watch. And the cinematography in the scene set in Canada with all the mountains and the snow, and yeah, it works. It looks pretty. The rest of the cinematography is god-awful, but at least those scenes look decent. That's it. Really, that's all the okay stuff in X-Men Origins Wolverine. The rest of it is just complete and utter garbage. And I was debating before doing this of whether to give X-Men Origins Wolverine a not worth your time or a horse shit. But I kept thinking about what I had just rewatched. It really is one of the dumbest, loudest, most inconsistent, most awful looking, most poorly acted, poorly scripted, just choppily directed, woefully edited, and just wrong superhero movies ever made for me. It's in my top 10. It's pretty goddamn high. And I have to say that X-Men Origins Wolverine is horse shit. There is no way in hell I'm ever going to watch this movie again. So X-Men Origins Wolverine, have you seen it? Please tell me what you think about it in the comments below. I'm going to do a review for The Wolverine coming soon. There's going to be videos linked down here or maybe one over there. For more Mr. Movies, please press my little face right there. Thanks for watching.